Sword Art Online is finally here. We just got huge news regarding the upcoming SAO VR game, and even a complete Sword Art Online world that you can already full dive into right now. So before you take out those swords to clear all the floors, make sure you completely destroy that like button on your way in. And with that said, let's dive right into it. The original SAO game was launched on November 6, 2022, which let players full dive into the world of SAO using a VR headset called the fulldive Nervegear, and with it, letting the players experience virtual reality as if it was real life. And earlier this year, we had a sneak peek through a first ever official Sword Art Online VR experience, also known as X Chronicle, the online edition. And with it, you could explore the Town of Beginnings in virtual reality, but also other aspects, like fighting the Skull Reaper boss on the 75th floor. But the reason why this was such a big deal is because it was officially licensed by Sony themselves. And now, more than 10 years after the first SAO episode got launched, with the official release date right around the corner, we can expect some big news from Sony. But what a lot of people forgot is that we saw something very similar before. Because a couple years ago, we had the alpha test of a game called Sword Art Online The Beginning. And with the huge popularity of SAO, more than 100,000 people signed up, but only a total of 208 participants were actually allowed to try this alpha demo. During this event, the testers got a full 3D body scan that was implemented inside the game, so that the avatars looked exactly like them. They were also given a VR headset that they called the Nervegear prototype. And although very cool looking, in reality it was an Oculus Rift attached to a helmet which included some hand tracking sensors. The users were then also strapped in to play on a VR treadmill, so that they could walk and turn around inside the game. And the gameplay itself existed of the first floor, but also included a boss battle against none other than the Gleam Eyes. And of course, all participants are doing just fine, compared to the anime, where all 10,000 players actually got stuck inside Aincrad, and where a game over inside SAO meant a game over in real life as well. But let's not worry about that again. But after that, we never actually got any new updates, no beta testing, and no release date of when this project would be released. But luckily, we now got some big news, because there's another huge company working on the exact same thing. None other than the director of MiHoYo, who are the same people behind the game called Genshin Impact, have shared some very interesting news. Because they are working on creating the largest virtual reality game in history, and all based on Sword Art Online. And with their big success of previous games, they have been putting a lot of resources in virtual reality research. So we can see a lot of big players going all in on VR, which makes it almost feel like the writer of Sword Art Online, known as Riki Kawahara, could almost predict the future when he started writing the series over 20 years ago. But there is even crazier news, because if you can't wait for the official Sword Art Online game, then it is already possible to dive into it right now. And all because one of the most insane developments in VR, which is also known as Project Aincrad. This absolutely insane project started off as an easy VR interface of the Sword Art Online anime, where people drag down their finger to create a drop-down menu for their items, which is iconic for every SAO fan. But this small idea started to grow rapidly because the maker behind it saw the potential that it had, asking the question, why not take it a step further? And that is exactly what they did, because soon enough a lot of other people joined to work and create the Sword Art Online world, with the best part being that it is completely free, because it is built in a world of VRchat. But it doesn't stop there, because besides exploring the first floor, they also implemented PvP combat and are working on developing the other floors, just like is done in the SAO anime, by using technology similar to the seed. For those who don't know, the seed in the anime was a technology used to generate all the floors of Sword Art Online, including towns, quests, and items. Thanks to this, they won't have to make every floor from the ground up, but they aren't quite there yet. Even so, Project Aincrad sure looks very promising, and I am sure that many SAO fans would love to experience this while waiting for the official SAO game. But besides these VR games, there is also the VR hardware, which in the anime is known as the fulldive Nervegear, which is capable of both reading and sending signals directly to your brain, while simultaneously blocking the signals that go to your body, so that you can lay on your bed and experience VR almost as if you were in a dream, but where you can see, hear, feel, and even taste anything that you could in real life. But creating a VR headset that is capable of interacting with your brain seemed to be a lot more difficult than expected, with a lot of companies trying to create exactly this, like the Neuralink from Elon Musk, that requires a brain implant to be able to send signals to the brain. But Meta also tried to create a brain-reading VR headset, which in the end got cancelled. Just like the fulldive, which had the concept similar to SAO, where the user is laying on their bed. The only big difference is that this headset didn't include a brain-reading device at all, and used external sources to stimulate your senses, from 360-degree sound to even wind and vibrations to mimic touch and feelings. But there was one VR headset that actually pulled it off, known as the Varjo Aero, which included the neural interface called Galea, which was previously known as OpenBCI and was made by none other than Valve. And while this headset almost created the perfect VR experience, it came at a complete ridiculous price point, with the biggest note compared to the Nervegear that it was only capable of reading signals that were coming from your brain and not sending them back, but definitely creating a first step towards it. And while the Varjo Aero is probably the most advanced version available right now, it was not consumer ready at all. But there were also other companies, like NextMind, who tried to create these brain-reading modules for other VR headsets, so that you can just attach it and start playing VR by just using your brain. And the fact that this is already possible feels completely insane. But it is important to keep in mind that this technology is just in its baby steps, and we still need some big scientific breakthroughs till we can truly get a full-dive Nervegear. Luckily, all the VR games talked about before, from the official Sony experience to the amazing Project Aincrad, are all playable on normal VR headsets like the Quest 2. And let's also announce the winner of the Quest 2 giveaway, which is none other than the user called Clyson. Congratulations. And for all the others, make sure that you also completely destroy that subscribe button so you don't miss any future giveaways. But getting back into it is our final conclusion. In the end, we know that a big Sword Art Online game is in the making by the company behind Genshin Impact. But we can also expect some major announcements of a potential VR SAO game that is officially licensed by Sony, keeping in mind that the original release date is right now. And while you're waiting, we can already dive into SAO thanks to Project Aincrad. But if you want to see more details about the upcoming full-dive Nervegear, then check out the video you see on screen right now. And of course, stay awesome.